Oh, I almost forgot. I did want to show some specs. I did want to show some specs here. So let's go into Bluebeam now. And here is a sample. Well, it's a real spec book used for this project, which is a middle school and elementary school. And this is volume 1 of 2. So this has divisions 0 through 14 in it. Like I said, the spec books are almost as thick as a Bible sometimes. So sometimes they have to get put into 2 different volumes. And in this case, let's look at, to give you an example. So division 1 are the general requirements. And I talked about that. But as you can see, there's 1:10:00, there's 1:20:00, 1:21, 22, 23, and on down. And each one of those is for a specific thing. So each one of those has its own 3-part section. Let's look at masonry, unit masonry. I think most people can are somewhat familiar with masonry. If you have it on your house or if you've been in a building that has brick on it. So let's go down now to division 4. Okay, so this is the end of a section. Concrete curing is ended, end section, and now we're going to go over to unit masonry. Now, I like the way that these specs are set up because here under the part 1, the general section, it tells you what the section includes. And don't always think that you're going to get this specific detail or sort of, arrangements in the specs. Each one is slightly different because they're written by a standard, but they're not always, they're written by different entities. And in this case, it's Grimm and Parker Architects. So this section includes concrete block, clay facing brick, outdoor slate chalkboard, mortar and grout, reinforcement and anchorage, flashing, lintels, and other accessories. So that is what's listed here. The part 1, 1.1 tells you what the section includes. And then you have related requirements. And so what are related requirements? Well, on masonry units, if you've seen them, a lot of times they'll caulk the joints, because they don't all the way join together. So sometimes there is an expansion joint, an area left out so that the material can expand and contract. And so joint sealants, and then also just to keep water out. So joint sealants is a related requirement. So that means you need to refer to section 079200 to look at the joint sealants and for the sealing control and expansion. And then here it references all of the standards that are referenced in this section. So all of the ACI requirements, ASTM requirements, all of these are listed here. And so you can go and that lets you know the standard that they use to write the specs with. Moving right along. And so now you have the submittals. So each contractor will go to their subcontractor. Let's say I'm a general contractor and I'm reaching out to ABC Masonry. This is what I need to tell them, that they need to submit what's called a submittal. It's a multi-part document that the architect reviews to make sure that the material that they're using are in compliance with the specs. So the submittal that they're asking for here, they need product data. Product data provides data for the masonry units, fabricated wire enforcement, mortar, and masonry accessory. A lot of times for this, the masonry company will just contact their supplier and ask them to give a PDF of the specific product that they're talking about. Then sometimes, and in this case, you need a sample for verification for each type of brick and color. So these are the samples they need. They need face brick in the form of straps of 5 or more bricks, pigmented mortar, and they need to make samples using the same sand and mortar ingredients to be used in a project. Now I'm going to go down a little rabbit trail here and tell you about a time where it would have been useful You see how they're talking about face brick in the form of straps or 5 or more bricks. So they want to make sure that the colors, that there's no variation in between them. Now, I can tell you of a situation that I was a part of where you have tile for a wall, a specific wall. And so the architect calls out a certain color, but they didn't ask for, apparently, I don't think they asked for multiple samples of this particular tile. And so fast forward, we're past, all of that pre-construction. We're actually got the tile on site and we're installing it. And the installer calls me and he says, hey, something's wrong with this tile. Come take a look at it. There's some variation or something with the color. So I go and I look at it, and sure enough, there's some off-white color tile, then there's beige and everything in between that gradient of tile. And so we're looking there, we're trying to figure out, well, what happened? We go back to the submittal. Yep, this is what was supposed to submit. But what we didn't notice is that on the box, it actually said gradient, which means that this wasn't a material based on one color. This had 5 or 6 different colors, and it was by design so that when you apply the tile to this area, you will have a variation, a gradient. It was meant to be that way. But I don't think that the design team knew that at the time. And it was also because only one sample was submitted. So you only saw that one color when there was actually a gradient. So that's just a real world example of something that happened to me. Now, moving right along, it also asks for manufacturer certification to certify that the masonry units meet or exceed specific requirements. Then you have the shop drawings. If you don't know what shop drawings are something that are drawn up by the people, the entity that will be producing the material. So like the manufacturer, in some cases, will provide the shop drawings. So they actually use the real drawings, the structural drawings in this case, to generate the shop drawings. And it's what it sounds like. Shop drawings for your shop to be able to produce what's needed. In the shop drawings, it's asking to include reinforcing steel, detail bending, and placement of unit masonry reinforcing bars. So the shop drawings are made by the experts. Sure, the engineers take care of all those important calculations regarding structure, but if you're a masonry company, you know the craft and how your material works. So you know that there are lintels needed in certain places. There's reinforcing steel needed in certain places. And so that is where those things are drawn into the drawings. Although most projects are always going to follow the structural drawings. The shop drawings really don't have any precedence over the structural drawings. But the structural drawings are not going to have everything down to the specific details like they mentioned here. Flashing, for instance, that's only going to, or for more than likely, it's only going to be in the shop drawings. Also need, and we're just talking about submittals here. So these are things that you need to submit product data for. The mix designs for each type of mortar and grout. So include a description of the type and the properties of the ingredients, and include test reports. Test reports are another thing that may be required. If your project is a LEED project, meaning that it needs to meet certain environmental requirements, then you need a LEED report to accurately document the use of recycled material and local regional materials as required in section, and it's referring to another section here in section 1, part of the general requirements. All right, so let's not spend too much time, but that's basically still in the general section 1, submittals. But let's go on to see, you've got quality assurance here. That in this case is talking about the quality assurance of the masonry contractor himself. What are his qualifications? It wants the contractor to have at least 10 years of experience in masonry construction of type and scope included in construction documents. So you can't just be a masonry contractor that's been around building residential. In this case, this is a school. So you would have to have 10 years of shown experience in a school setting type of buildings. And this is also calling for a mock-up. Mock-up prior to installation of the masonry. Prior to installing the unit masonry, construct sample wall panels to verify selections made under sample submittals and to demonstrate aesthetic effects as well as other qualities of material and execution. So in other words, it's saying locate a mock-up on site within 4 weeks of contract award and location. So build a sample wall so that the architects and the owner can come and look at it along with the contractor, and they can all agree that, yep, this is satisfactory, move on. And you'll use the mock-up as an example of how things are to progress. Let's see. Okay, it's also calling for a pre-installation meeting. So it says convene 1 week before starting the work of this section. Then the delivery, the storage, and handling. Deliver, storage, and handle units by means that will prevent mechanical damage and contamination by other materials. So that means that when your product arrives on site, you probably want to set it on dunnage, which is, sometimes it'll be like wood or sometimes even rail ties, but something that's going to lift it off of the surface if it's being stored outside so that there's no mud or, water or other things that could get on it and kind of mess up the material before it goes into place. All right, so a lot here. Environmental requirements. Extend coverage a minimum of 24 inches down both sides. Okay. So this is talking about the protection of the masonry. Doing construction, cover the tops of walls, projections, and seals with waterproofing sheets at the end of each day's work. Cover partially completed masonry when construction is not in progress. So again, this is all dealing with the quality of the finished product. Okay, now we start with part 2, which actually gets into the products itself. So there is a breakdown for each type of product that's in this section of masonry. There's concrete masonry units, also called CMU, and then there's brick units and those other things that we saw there. But looking at the brick, that's an easy one to understand. So there are, as far as the manufacturers, it gives you 2 options. Brick color 1 can come from this manufacturer, brick color 2, 3, and 4. Then it gives you another option. Then it gives, under facing brick, the standards to be followed. ASTM C216, type FBS, grade SW. The size would be modular. If there are special shapes, molded units as required by conditions indicated, unless the standard can be sawn. Okay. And it's also talking about where the material can be sourced from. Provide brick manufacturers of raw materials extracted or recovered from within 500 miles of the project site. So sometimes these can be challenging. You want to make sure you follow the specs, because let's say that you get something from another state or somewhere overseas, that's not going to qualify for this project. And now we're skipping down to part 3, the execution. Examination is telling you to verify that the field conditions are acceptable and ready to receive masonry. Then verify that related items provided under the sections are properly sized and located. Meaning that if you're starting your face brick or your masonry brick on top of a concrete slab, you want to verify that all of those things are in the right place, the elevations for them are right, and everything related to that. Okay, then it lists certain ways to prepare. Direct and coordinate placement of metal anchors supplied for installation under other sections. Cold and hot weather requirements. Comply with requirements of AST or of ACI 530/530.1 or applicable building code. So that's related to the cold weather requirements. Then now you get to the actual installation. first here it talks about the thickness. Build cavity and composite walls and other masonry construction to full thickness shown. So follow the drawings, in other words. Build single width walls to actual widths of masonry units using units of widths indicated. Build chases and recesses to accommodate items specified in this section. And so it gives you some more things there. And then your coursing. So this is dealing with the layout of, that's what's called a course. It's dealing with the layout of the masonry units, saying that you need to establish the lines, levels, and coursings indicated. Maintain masonry courses in uniform dimensions. Form vertical and horizontal joints of uniform thickness. It also lays out concrete masonry units, what types of bond, a running bond, the coursing, 1 unit and 1 mortar joint equals 8 inches, and the mortar joints are to be concave. Placing and bonding, buttering joints, placing and bonding. And so most of this is going to make more sense to if you're working for a masonry company or if you're a brick mason. So we won't try to learn all of that here, but as we scroll through, you can see that there's a lot of details that are required for each specifications. And as you can see, there's 1, 2, and 3 different sections, just like we talked about. And that is the end of the section. So now that you've gone through one sample specification, I'm hoping that you'll be able to take any specifications, go back to this section and see the standards of how to go through each one and what each spec section consists of.